Almost couldn't start without Trovo.
Is it even worth doing this podcast if we can't get on Trovo?
Right? I don't know. Trovo, you tell us. Is it okay that we don't stream to you today? We're using Restream, by the way. Speaking of which, let's hit the ad.
This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io?
We're going to be switching things up a little bit today, and since we hit 1K subs yesterday, thank you for all your help there. We're going to do what we probably should have been doing for a while, and we're going to answer some of the questions that you guys have put in on all the platforms where we're live streaming: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We grabbed them all from there. You can also ask us live in the chat, just whatever questions you want, as long as, you know, well, we're not going to answer them if they're not appropriate, but still, 1K subs. Let's have some fun here. Mr. Perrin, I'm going to start this one over to you. This is from Rogue Player One on Twitter, and let's just dive right into this. Including PC, which next-gen console is going to be better for creators?
Including PC? I mean, PC, of course.
PC.
So, I think it's always funny because there's the console war, but the unanimous winner of the console wars is PC, because most of the best titles for both consoles are coming to PC. You need a PC to be a streamer, of course, so that's good.
Sure.
Alice, if you weren't going to pick PC, I'm still going to go with my default, the PlayStation 5, just because of the exclusive titles and the access to the great titles. You, as a streamer, you might want to have access to those. You might find yourself at a disadvantage if you do not have access to those. But I mean, in my opinion, I'm a bit biased as a PC gamer and a PC streamer, but if you're a streamer, PC gaming is probably in your realm somewhere, and PC overwhelmingly won the console wars. What's your take, Ross? What's your take on that?
I would agree, and I'm not even a PC gamer. It's just the best to go to when you stream. But most importantly, you got to go with what you love. You got to go with where the games that not only that you enjoy, but are also going to help you find success. And so, yeah, I think you're going to have, as of right now, where it stands. Obviously, I don't think it really matters. Play what you want, but it's really hard to say don't go for PlayStation at this point if you're not doing the PC thing.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Do we have anything technical? I know we've got some questions, and I went through and answered some to the YouTube channel yesterday, but there's some I probably missed too.
Yeah, there is one. Let's see. One Fitzable Boy on YouTube. He has a question about clips. I'm having a ton of weird problems with clips. My clips don't seem to play, or when they get a ton of errors while processing and it end up not being uploaded at all. I see that it's a very important part of the page's growth, since you can give teaser-like portions to the public who are just searching around and possibly entice them to watch your next stream. Now, he's talking about Facebook gaming here, I'm assuming, because it was a Facebook gaming episode. So let's talk clips, Mr. Perrin.
Yeah, so I did look at this one pre-show because I didn't know how to answer it, but I think I have an idea. I have not run into this issue, but admittedly, I have not been doing many clips. So what I would do, I imagine you're having this problem because Facebook keeps switching between their old interface and their new one. And if you notice, there's always improvements when they switch back to their new one. It's because it's not finished yet. So there were some bugs there. So I think if you're trying to clip when they're on the new UI, the new look, there's more issues. If it happens to be a time where they've swapped back to the old interface, then you might have a little bit better time doing it. In general, give your streams some time to process after the fact, or have your moderators be clipping using the ! clip command in chat during the stream while it's live to get the past couple of minutes when something happens. And if you've got moderators while you're streaming, just say, hey mods, can you clip the last, whatever amount of time? I find that those tend to do well when they're clipped like during the stream. Otherwise, if you're doing it post stream, give it some time to process before you do it. You're probably still going to run into issues. I don't think it'll be foolproof there. So the last resort is to work through Facebook support to get some help if you're just not having any luck or they're stuck processing or something like that. They very likely can help you. And they actually, if you go through Facebook advertiser support, they have someone who will chat with you on Facebook Messenger that can kind of walk you through and assist. I know it's advertiser support, but they'll still to a degree, address issues that are on Facebook pages normally. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, it does. And we've actually kind of like a follow-up question, or not even really a follow-up question. This is from actually live chat right now. You can get your questions in there as well, whether you're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Not Trovo, unfortunately. So a question from Los Gameplays Del Perro. A question: what should a 15-second ad contain on Facebook? And I'm assuming they're talking about a like a stream advertisement or something for their own promotion.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna take that from I'm gonna assume the perspective as a Facebook gaming live streamer. Right. What should your 15-second ad contain? What I'm looking at right now is an interesting strategy, and hopefully I can test this more, and then we can do an episode on it. But I'll definitely need more time to test. But you want to capture them in that 15 seconds. One thing you can do is just get on camera and do an advertisement where you're saying, "Hey, I'm playing." I'm going to use Mobile Legends as an example because that's what I stream, what I'm familiar with. So if I get on camera, I say, "Hey, I'm streaming Mobile Legends right now. Come check me out if you want to see, me play Mythic ranked gameplay or play X Hero, whatever. Check me out in the link below," and do that in 15 seconds, and then advertise that during the window where you're actually live. You can schedule when the days of the week and the time that your ads will show, and you make those ads show only when you go live. Alternatively, then you do a 15-second version that says you're not live right now, but says, "Hey, I live stream. Here's my channel. Here's a quick what I do," and do it from the perspective of you on camera, something that they would actually see on stream, maybe even using some of your stream elements so that you're showing what they're going to get. So you're setting their expectation so that you can deliver on it, and do that within a 15-second bit, and then show that as an advertisement. You don't have to be super salesy. Just be genuine, be human. Think about this more from a YouTuber perspective than an advertisement perspective, and try to make it concise in 15 seconds. I definitely think you'll get some traction from that. For the advertisement that's saying you're not live right now, you can run that whenever. And I would target people who are not currently following your page, so you can try to bring in new audiences to your page. That could require, I could do a whole episode on that. So that's the abridged version. Like I said, I'm working on some more strategies there for advertisements. I'm actually working directly with Facebook on some of those as well, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we'll get an episode here like in the next month or so when I have some more data for you all.
That's awesome, because that brings up a lot of questions that I have too. Here's one from on YouTube right now, another live question, Games by Gamers. What advice can you give a no mic streamer?
Get a mic. That is honestly the best advice. Unless there is a particular reason why you cannot have a mic, or if you're mute or something like that, and then I would definitely communicate and with your branding and with your stream thing as a whole that's why you can't, because without you being on camera and without you having a voice, you're taking away the whole component of why anybody would ever watch your stream. Because most people aren't out there looking just for gameplay. I mean, they want some gameplay, but they're looking for all the extra things that come with it. And if you don't even have your voice on top of it and you're just playing games live or on a video, nobody cares. Nobody cares, unfortunately. I mean, we're to the point where they could find that plus more somewhere else. Yeah. So you're hamstringing yourself considerably versus your competition, and basically 99% of people out there are doing it better than you. So why would someone sit there and watch you when they could go to somebody better, right? So you need to have a mic, like I said, unless it's actually a disability or something like that, and then in which case I would put the branding around that disability, because then your content becomes challenge content, and that's actually interesting for people. So you can, with the disability, actually make it work quite well, and we've seen that happen in lots of different ways on Twitch. Yeah. And on YouTube. So that's a viable thing. But if you're just shy, honestly, jump in the deep end of the pool. Like, if you're just shy, just get a mic and just start talking. Even if you feel uncomfortable, I promise you, if you just keep doing it, it'll start to feel normal. You'll start to feel fine. You'll get some confidence. You'll get your swagger. You'll be good, and you'll be surprised at how easy it is. I understand. I'm inherently pretty apprehensive about getting on camera, even and in front of a mic. But once you do it often, it's nothing. It's just like everyday talking, and you get really used to it. So I would try to overcome that hurdle just by getting a mic and just start doing it. Just jump in the deep end of the pool.
Yep, I think that's good. Here's one from Justin Morgan. He's been awesome. I love talking to Justin on Facebook. Can you talk about star screens and having music on them? I have several stars screened on my Manic Red channel using Jib Jab, and I often wonder if I am legit or not.
I don't know if I understand the question. Star
I'm not quite
screens?
sure. Yeah, let me reread this because I had something pop up here. Can you talk about star screens and having music on them?
Oh, I see it. I see it. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by star screens, Justin. Is it like, are you talking about alerts with stars? If you're, so like, if you have music on them, I'm gonna say with the music, make sure that it's royalty-free music and that you have the rights to use it. And we had a whole episode about that. But otherwise, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. So if you could maybe like rephrase in a way that or elaborate a little bit more, maybe we can grab that one.
Cool. Yep, that's another one. If he gets back, we'll go back into that one. So here's another one. Hello, please discuss the tags in gaming videos, and do they have an impact in your reach or not? If so, what kind of tags should you add?
I'm gonna assume
this is on YouTube, so let's assume this is YouTube.
Yeah, let's assume YouTube. So okay. Tags, they don't really have an impact on reach. Like, they're just kind of like a requirement, and AWOL will be the best one for this. But from what he has said, tags just go along with the rest of the meta. And if tags are like a requirement, and if you don't have them, they can hurt you like a little bit. So you just need them as a basic requirement. And I don't really think they help. You just need to have them. And they should be similar to, at least the first few tags should be very similar to your title. And that's the reason why, is and that's just to reinforce the SEO for the title, because the title is so important. And that's it. So it's basically like, it's important as like a backup of another important element. So it on its own, tags are not, and maybe AWOL would say this differently, but make sure you still do them correctly. Having like stellar tags and farming that's like so 2002. That's not a thing anymore, really. It's just a normal requirement. Do it right, and you're good. You don't get a benefit from doing it well. You just avoid a deficit, basically, from doing it incorrectly.
Good answer. This one, I've actually seen this asked a couple times for you, Astral, across multiple YouTube videos. Astral, are you not scared of telling people your exact strategy in the game you're playing? Do you think that'll make competition too fierce for you personally? It's actually a legitimate question.
That's a good question.
A lot of people like to share their exact strategy that they're working on right now, plus the exact game. But here you are on the show doing it.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I'm streaming in the first place is for the show, so that and that's kind of my first priority. I enjoy streaming, and I love doing it, and I look forward to it every day. It's kind of a side impact of the reason I started doing it was so that we were investigating these features, especially through Facebook Gaming, and we had at least one member of the team actively doing this type, actually employing our strategies that we talk about. So that way we're not just preaching, but we're also practicing it as well. And so that's the most important thing. Do I worry, if I share them, that other people use it? Yeah, I mean, I have some worry that and as the podcast gets bigger and our audience gets bigger, if I communicate a strategy that I've found out and then everyone does it destroy the strategy? In some cases that might happen. But am I worried about that long term? No, because I'll still grow, and I'm sharing something else that will work for all of you, and that will help. And basically all of your response in the comments and in the direct messages, you've all said the podcast has helped you in some way. It's helped you grow your stream. It's helped you, get off the ground running. That's why we do this, and that's really why I'm streaming. And so as long as I remember that, I don't worry too much about, is sharing my secret strategies going to ruin my own success? Because I'm not measuring my own success by just me. I'm measuring it by how much we're able to help all of you as well.
I love it, man. Yeah. And by the way, we do go and read, or at least very much attempt to read every comment and stuff like that. And we always appreciate and share all the compliments and stuff that you give us. And we really do actually enjoy seeing you grow your stream. This is why we're doing the podcast, obviously, because we want to see you have success that we've been able to help a lot of other people have. Razor Nerd on YouTube, you do a lot of strategies and growth in English speaking markets. What advice do you have for non-English speaking streamers? Do the same strategies and game selection choices apply?
So there's two components there. Do the same strategies apply? And for the most part, yes. Do the same game choices apply? No, definitely not. So,
Ooh, expand.
yeah. So, I mean, very clearly in, let's do like the Indian market. So India is very big for Free Fire Mobile on Facebook. And so if you want to pick up an audience demographic from that location, let's say you live in India, you've grown up there, and you want to stream, you want to pick up, people in your area, you want to pick up your peers as an audience, you want to be streaming that game because you're going to pick up a huge audience on Facebook from that, right? If you are a Filipino, you live in the Philippines, and you want to grow an audience that's also in your country, you want to stream Mobile Legends because it's got a huge audience there. But if you also want to branch out to maybe some of the other East Asian territories, Malaysia, Indonesia as well, you want to stream Mobile Legends on Facebook. You have to look at the audience demographic, and you can actually research this on Google Trends. We've actually shown this on screen on a lot of episodes. You want to research the locational territories and the audience demographics, and you want to think about what type of audience do you want? Do you want younger demographic, 13 to 17? Do you want your age range? Let's say you're a 25-year-old streamer. Do you want 20 to 30-year-olds as your age range? Are you an older gamer and maybe you're a dad and maybe you want 30 to 35, but maybe you want to appeal to a younger generation somehow too? You have to look at these demographics, and they're different depending on what game you stream, because each game, and I would always do it by game, look at the game, because that's initially what's going to bring in the people. So look at the game. The game is very important and it's different depending if you're international or not. But the other strategies are pretty much the same. The strategies when we talk about how to engage, have a camera, have a microphone, how to be entertaining, how to set up your stream elements and alerts, those all apply across the board, no matter where you're from, no matter what language you speak, they all apply. But the one difference is choosing the game as a gaming live streamer or a gaming content creator is really important in determining who your audience is going to be.
Ooh, that's deep. I like it. Now, here's one you actually answered. I believe you actually replied to them on the YouTube video. It was, let me see, Kylie and Kaylee on YouTube. Would it be weird to stream Call of Duty on Twitch and GTA on Facebook? Could I create two different audiences, or would it be better to just focus on restreaming both games on both platforms?
I think I just said, why not restream, right? And the other thought that goes through my head is, why have two jobs? Why have two additional jobs when you can just make it one, right? Think of it this way. If you want to be successful online, what's the better way to do it? To work really hard and put all your time into one thing to make it as best as it can be, or to spread yourself amongst two things and half your time and see if you can become successful by doing two things half-heartedly? No. So this is why I suggest Restream, because Restream is going at one thing with all of your might, but spreading it across, using the tool to spread it across all the different areas. With that, I don't see any reason why you would stream a different game to Facebook and then a different game to Twitch and waste your time. Do both. Stream both to both. Why not? Why not stream both to both? When you can, it's very easy. Just use Restream. That's a good time to plug Restream. Don't forget, if we're sponsored by Restream, we're streaming live right now on Twitch, DLive, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope or Twitter. Unfortunately, there was an API issue with Trovo today, but normally we're on Trovo as well. If you want to restream too, go there, put in code DROP25 for a discount when you subscribe. That's DROP25, and let them know that we sent you.
Boom. All right, here's a good one, and I think we both got to get going, so this may actually be the last question we have, but it's a good one because we can talk about it. This is from Los Gameplays Del Perro on YouTube again. This brings up a question, what you were talking about, because the strategies that we talk about, are they going to be overused by us all from here to like in a year from now? Are they still going to be useful then? If everyone's doing them?
If everyone's doing them, I mean, there are some strategies that everybody does do. I mean, for example, let's look at live streaming as a whole right now. Alerts are something that everybody does. And if you're not doing it, it's like you should be doing it. Webcams are something that everybody pretty much should be doing, except for the few original people at the very beginning. Or there are some outliers, but for the general speaking, webcam are a thing. Another trend that's, a lot of people are doing is like having something extra for your donations and subscribers. You don't have to, but like it's something that's caught on. Just because a technique becomes popularized and everyone does it doesn't necessarily diminish how good the technique is. Here's a good example. Mobile Legends. Here's a worrying thing here's the scenario that could be worrying about Mobile Legends is, I tell you all, stream Mobile Legends because it's lucrative right now, right? And everyone goes to Mobile Legends and starts streaming, and that makes it not lucrative anymore because everyone's streaming. Depending on how you employ that strategy, it's actually not true. And what I found is a lot of people have come over to Mobile Legends to start streaming, I think presumably because of this podcast and what I'm doing. And that has actually grown a North American market for Mobile Legends that didn't exist before. We've actually grown a new market for Mobile Legends by streaming it so much. And I've found that, my concurrent viewership hasn't decreased from there being too many Mobile Legends streamers. And that's a thing where Facebook just has there's a lot more demand than supply still. Once we overdo the supply, then yeah, maybe we'll run into that scenario of sorts. But in general, there are a lot of strategies that can become universal, and that doesn't diminish their effectiveness. Now, there are, of course, then some that are the opposite. And I don't have any at the top of my head. I'm sure we'll run into issues where I'll communicate a strategy and that'll make it less effective by me having told it to all of you, and because it relies on some sort of like, maybe it's an advertisement or something, and that makes the advertisement more competitive, and it ups the bid amount because we're all trying to do the same type of ad. But even that is dubious at best. I think it'll be rare that we'll run into a scenario where communicating these strategies in such a public way, in such a transparent way, will result in them being less effective. For the most part, they'll continue to be effective, I think.
Right. And it's also worth taking into consideration that the algorithms and the strategies themselves changed so much. A year from now, the strategies that we have talked about this week, there's a very real chance they could be completely obsolete in a year from now. They could be obsolete in a month from now. We just never know. It's following and keeping up with it. So I would say follow the show more for the news and updates on like algorithms and stuff like that. The strategies are super useful, but the strategies is the part where you're always going to have to be adapting. And that's just, it's never going to change. And not to mention, we get a lot of people that, watch this, but people watching and people actually taking the advice and applying it to their channel, to their strategies, it doesn't happen as much as what you may think. We hope it does. The goal is to get as many people to do it as possible, because a lot of the tips and stuff that we share are beneficial in like what parents said, where it's not going to increase the amount of competition in a certain area. But no, I would say mostly a year from now, the strategies are just going to change. That's just the market. So by the time that everyone's picked up on one strategy, it may be completely obsolete, and you got to start from square one and pick up another strategy, and it's just snowball effect over and over. So I wouldn't worry about the market becoming too oversaturated with the same strategy. At least not yet.
Thank you, Squad Trek, for the raid, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Nice to see your name in chat.
Just look over here, and it's just our chat room, just raid.
Raid. Thank you, man. I want to add on to that real quick.
Yep.
Something that we try to inform pretty well on the podcast. We try to back it up with data, and we try to show you real examples. But ultimately, everyone's creator journey is going to be a little bit different. And so you're going to have to come up with your own strategies. But hopefully you can base them on what our experience is and what we're doing. At least this is our kind of hope. And hopefully they help you figure out your strategy. Because if you're just doing the strategy exactly as we say, it's probably not going to work for you. You need to tailor it to your unique take, your unique creator journey. Because remember, part of being a creator is you, the you in YouTube, right? You're the unique element. We can't give you a strategy for your personality. We can't give you a strategy for exactly how you're going to approach like a specific game or tackle your content in your way. You have to do that. But we can inform you and give you some better ideas, or at least help you think critically in a constructive way about how to approach your own strategy and how to use all these tools and how to think about, streaming games and how to pick your game and use all these different tools to fit your strategy better. Ultimately, and we had a good episode on this too, is like copy other people, but apply those in a way that's unique to your strategy. And that transforms it a little bit and makes it your own. And ultimately, that's what you want to look for, is you want to be taking the advice that we're giving here and don't always assume it to be true. Test it yourself. Test these things yourself. And we try to be clear when we're speculating. We try to be clear when we actually have real, backed up data. But try these things yourself. Experiment on your own too. We're good at this, but this landscape changes constantly all the time. So it's really, really hard to consider ourselves experts when things are just always changing. And we're just always having to try to struggle to keep up with it and understand it. And that's why we practice it. That's why we do what we do here. So maybe you don't have to spend so much time doing that. So hopefully you find that helpful. Long story short, make it your own. You have a unique creator journey ahead of you that we don't necessarily know or understand. So take the things you learn here and apply it to your own strategy and make something your own at the end of the day.
Ooh, I think that's a good note to end on. Are you ready to get out of here, Perrin? Ready to go do a little weekend activities?
Let's do it. Happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully AWOL is okay and he'll be back here on Monday. We'll see. He's surviving hurricanes right now, so wish him the best of luck. Take us out of here, Ross.
Yeah, best of luck, AWOL. Hopefully see you back Monday, and hopefully everything is dry on Monday. So this was your daily drop. Full replays. If you missed any questions or want to re-listen anything or have a question of your own, just drop it in the video. We're going to go through it. We're going to reply. We do it all the time. You can also hit us up on Twitter or Facebook at Digital Drop Pod. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever podcasts are available. I think we're even on something called Podbean, which I didn't even know was a real thing until AWOL's like, Ross, go sign us up for Podbean. So we're on Podbean. If anyone else is on Podbean, I just like saying Podbean. So we will be back on Monday. Happy creating. Have a